Time now for the GCN Tech Clinic, where we aim to answer your bike and tech-related questions. You can submit your questions down below in the comment section using the hashtag AskGCNTech, and we'll do our best to answer as many of them as possible. Without further ado, Alex, who's this week's question from?
First in this week is from Ephraim J. Pagan PE.
Commented on the tech show last week as well.
Good memory.
Good to see you, Ephraim.
Yeah, hi guys and gals. What are your thoughts on creaking carbon frames? Is it a thing? Do lower-end carbon bikes inevitably develop a creak? They've got a Giant Defy 3 with about 6,000 miles on it, and a few weeks ago, the bike developed a dry creaking noise around the bottom bracket area when climbing or out the saddle. They've been to their local bike shop to get the press-fit bottom bracket replaced, still creaks. Swapped out the front crank, still creaks. Cleaned the seat post, still creaks. What else? Thanks for your input, love the channel.
Yeah, well, thanks for your question.
Yeah.
So, lots to unpick here.
Lots.
But carbon frames themselves don't generally creak unless they've become delaminated as a result of a crash. But if a carbon frame is delaminated, you'll actually see it moving. It's
going to take a big impact.
It's severe damage. It means the frame is just destroyed.
And it shouldn't make a difference on the price point.
And it's not a loud cracking creak. It's usually just like you'd put it to your ear and you'd hear it. But you haven't got that from what we can tell.
And I don't think there's any issue from the fact that you're saying the bike's at a lower price point. That's irrelevant to me.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the things is when you have a creak on your bike, as many of us have encountered creaks on our bikes at some point. I've had loads, you've had loads. People often go, oh, it's the bottom bracket. It's the first thing they think of. Diagnosing a creak is not that simple. There's often you can be adamant it's the bottom bracket, but then it can be so many other things.
Yeah.
Like, pedals.
Pedals, easy one. Quick releases, through axles. Headset, stem bolts. There's all sorts of things. What else we've got? Saddle rails.
Well, the classic thing here is you say, you're hearing a noise, which you think is coming from the bottom bracket area when you're climbing out of the saddle. When you're climbing out of the saddle, that can often be the headset because you're on the bars and putting a bit more pressure through the headset, but also a classic one when you're putting more torque, higher torque load on, and when you're out the saddle, the rear wheel bearing can also be the front wheel bearing that starts to creak.
I actually rode with Connor probably a month ago. His bike was creaking, and he goes, "Oh, it's my bottom bracket." Turns out his front through axle just wasn't tight enough.
Yeah, well, Connor's not the best at bike maintenance.
He'll probably be the first to admit it, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, right, so hopefully that's given some advice and guidance on that.
Yeah, but it can be annoying, but check absolutely, everything and really diagnose the problem.
Okay, next up, what have we got?
Next up, where have we got here? We've got Panagiotis Mavros, who says, I was watching the tour on GCN Plus and saw the riders spraying water bottles on their heads to cool down. When I am riding, my water bottles are filled with energy drink, not something I want to be sprayed with. Are the bottles on the tour filled with only water, or the riders pretty sticky after the race?
It's just water.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if someone retired because a swarm of wasps,
whatever their face,
just attacked them
but
going outdoors.
On a serious note, it's always water, and I think what you'll find is it's a bottle that they've just grabbed from the team car, or from the roadside from a soigneur.
Yes.
Or, well, it's relevant on the really hot days because that's why they're putting water in themselves. They won't have energy mix in all of their bottles because they have to drink so much liquid throughout the stage.
It was a very hot tour.
Yeah, they'll maybe mix some energy drinks, some just plain water, and they'll know not to put energy drink on themselves.
Pouring sugary liquid on themselves on purpose. It's quite an interesting point, though, that you noticed that and raised that, because I think this is something we should actually do a feature on at some point, is the effect of cooling on performance, because this is something we've started to see increasing. We've seen more ice fests, we've seen riders pouring a lot more water on themselves than previous years, and in the last few years there's been quite a lot of research done by sports scientists on the impact of core body temperature. There's core body temperature sensors out now as well. And teams have been using these, and they clearly know something along the lines of performance drops off when you overheat. That was why Pogacar, actually, one of the reasons why he said he got dropped on that key stage was he overheated. And so we've seen the teams and the riders making a much bigger effort to cool themselves. So yeah, we'll look into it.
Next question is from Wout_DP_2006. They say, what are the differences between wide handlebars and smaller handlebars, and what is best for racing?
Smaller handlebars are less wide.
I could probably give a slightly more elaborate answer than that.
Sorry, I mean facetious.
You're being a very silly Billy. Wider handlebars generally offer more stability, increased leverage for when you're climbing out the saddle, and I don't want to say less responsive feel to your bike, but it's not so twitchy, is what I'm trying to say. Because you've got a wider handlebar, it's just a lot more stability.
Steering geometry.
Yeah, you're altering steering geometry, and your bike doesn't feel quite so nimble and agile.
Yeah, like it's like on a steering wheel in a vehicle. You have a racing car, wants to be nimble and agile. It's got short steering ratio and it's got a little tiny steering wheel. Whereas you've got a bus.
Yeah, and if you go to narrow handlebars, you can sort of flip those characteristics I've just described on their head, the flipping the other way around. In terms of racing, if you're looking to optimise your body position, which I would say is probably one of the best places to start if you want to ride faster, going to a narrow handlebar is going to bring your arms and your shoulders in and help make you ride faster for less effort.
Yeah.
Often one of the cheapest upgrades to make.
Yeah, it's actually one of the changes we made in our £1,000 bike upgrade series that you can watch on the GCNTech channel. So I talk about it in that, so I'd definitely say check that out. Okay. Next question is from Natural Stuff, who says, I ride a gravel bike equipped with Schwalbe G1 Bite tyres. How do I know when to change my tyres? When the central studs are worn down to the carcass, or before that happens?
There isn't a set rule on this, certainly on gravel bike tyres. Road bike tyres, many of them have a little tiny little divot in them when that's worn flat.
The wear indicator.
The wear indicator. But on gravel bike tyres, no, I think the best way to look at it for me is when that central tread, like the person is saying, is worn away and it's no longer got sort of sharp edges to it where you can see all the knobbles are rounded off.
Yeah. Or if the tyre is just destroyed through sidewall punctures or big punctures.
I tend to find on a gravel bike you're more likely to need to replace the tyre because it's got damaged than you've actually worn it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one in is from Toon van Bruggen. Say, hi guys, in motorsport, the drivers always warm up their tyres before a race. Could this also be useful in bike riding? No, I don't think it could be. Oh.
No and yes.
Okay.
So, having performed rolling resistance testing in the past on tyres, you do notice the tyres actually do need to come up to temperature before you realise the lowest rolling resistance.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Readings.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, tyres performing at the compounds in tyres are designed to work at higher temperatures than just static temperatures. So there is an argument that you could warm up your tyres, like if they were on the velodrome and they were doing a team pursuit, then you could say put the tyre blankets on like you do in motorsport and then quickly set them off. However, in practice it doesn't work because the amount they cool down super quick. There's a lot less rubber volume on a bike tyre compared to a big fat motorsport tyre, and so the tyres cool down very, very quickly, and also they're not got the sun baking down on them, so it's too long amount of time from where they're in the central part of, say, a velodrome or whatever, and they heat the tyres up, and then by the time they've got them on the track, started them, there's a lot standing around, they would have cooled down anyway, so it's pointless.
Thanks for clearing that up. Yeah. Fantastic. Next question is from... Ooh, you might have to help me out with this username.
Ryujinusa.
Thanks very much. You probably did a lot better job than me.
Probably wrong.
They said they made the jump to latex tubes because you guys talk about them all the time. Is there anything special I should know about them? I've heard they lose air pressure faster, for example. That's one of the biggest differences, I would say.
So you basically would pump them up on a daily basis.
Just be a little bit more mindful when you're fitting the inner tubes into the tyres. Very easy to pinch and
puncture. Yeah, they're much more, because they're more supple, you can nip them under the bead when you're inflating and then cause them to explode, which is an expensive mistake, relatively speaking. So, just be careful.
Next question, I'm going to read this out because it's directed for you. So, Zach Hoodart says, hey guys, slightly tech-related question. What hair products does Ollie use?
Have you seen There's Something About Mary?
Yeah, I have seen that. Really?
Not that. Oh. I actually use... where's it gone?
I've got it prepped down here.
Where's the muck-off gone? Yes. Muck off ludicrous.
This was a fresh supply in for Ollie this week. What I actually use is actually just over the side, out of shot. You can't see it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. Next question in is from Mike Skuzerbuck.
Nailed it.
Yeah, thank you. At which speed would you recommend stopping pedalling and going full aero in regards to going fastest and saving energy? So I guess it's in regards to on a descent.
Yeah.
That sort of crossover time and speed where it's not worth investing your effort in pedalling. Get aero.
When you run out of gears.
It's like all.
It's an impossible question to answer
Yeah.
because it depends. There's so many variables and you need context. It's like, how long is the event you're doing? Is it worth you saving energy? If it's like a 4 kilometer,
Pedal.
or 4 minute effort, then you want to just hammer it as hard as you can. But if it's, like a 100-mile epic, then you might want to be thinking, right, this is a tactical energy save moment. I'm going to put the power down when I'm riding up a hill and save my watts.
So I'm thinking in the most general possible way I could give an example. A relatively steep descent where you may be questioning, should I pedal or not? I think anything over 50k an hour, you might as well just get aero. There's no point pedaling if you're going down a steep descent.
Yeah.
That's the most general advice I think I could give. Okay.
I'll go for that.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Next question, what have we got?
Too old for this. Hi GCN gurus. Never been called a guru
Oh.
before. Why is a chimney on a road bike condemned? Like it's a heinous, sinful crime against the cycling world. I mean, is it aesthetics? Is it because it's non-aero? What's up with the chimney hating on bikes? Love the shows. Glad to see Alex is healing. Externally.
Internally, I'm still wounded.
Yeah.
But I'm healing up, thanks.
I think we are passionate about bikes and bikes looking cool.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see bikes is about man or person.
Yeah, we've got to generalise this stuff. Yeah.
Bikes are about, the rider and the machine combined, and when you see the bike perfectly set up, it's kind of a beautiful thing.
I think
and so it says this person's not totally dialed in with their machine if their chimney is uncut.
Yeah, from my perspective, I would say it's a case of you've got the bike and you haven't finalised your position yet.
Yeah.
If you've got it uncut, it's like, oh, well, I haven't bothered to get the setup done
And
yet.
we want the perfect harmony of rider and machine. Plus, this is cool. Well, it's not cool. It's pretty horrible. Geraint Thomas doesn't have a spleen. And the reason why Geraint Thomas doesn't have a spleen is because he rode a bike with an uncut steerer. So he had a chimney and he had a crash whilst riding for the GB Academy, and his chest landed on the uncut steerer, punctured his chest, and he lost his spleen as a result.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that with everybody. Right, last question for this week's GCNTech Clinic, and it's from Bimbling Along, a bit like you and I in life. Hi team, I recently got myself a new gravel bike with GRX, which comes with a clutch on the rear derailleur. 85 to 90% of my cycling is on tracks and trails. Is there a reason why I can't just leave the clutch on all the time? No, I don't think there is. I would leave it on. It's going to help with the chain retention on the chain rings, help not drop the chain, make life a little bit easier when you're off-road. I believe the clutch is only there to make it easier to remove your rear wheel and any sort of maintenance and service tasks you need to do on your bike.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, that's all we've got time for this week. So if we've not managed to get around to your question, just persevere. Bang it under this one, keep being persistent, and hopefully we'll get around to answering your questions, as we always try to do as many as possible. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye!
See ya.